Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Big Lee's World podcast. It is I, your host, Big Lee, coming to you once again back from the mobile studio right here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And today I want to talk about a recent endeavor that I went on. As the time of recording this, it was this past Saturday, went down to McKenzie, Tennessee for the IWA Deep South Carnage Cup 13. That's a mouthful to say right there. For those that don't know, IWA Deep South is kind of a controversial company that they run shows sporadically. They are a deathmatch heavy company, but they are known for doing some of the more, I hate to say, more dangerous of the deathmatch. But they'll use things like razor wire, where most deathmatch companies don't use razor wire, and crazier things like that. Very controversial. They do believe in using the Confederate flag, which personally is something I don't get behind, but at the same time, I'm not big on the whole cancel culture thing. And I think a lot of times people just do that stuff just to get a rise out of people. So I try not to focus on it too much. But yeah. So kind of looking into this here, kind of the backstory for that trip. They go and I guess they travel around with this. This is the 13th year. Apparently, they've had quite a bit of history. There's actually a documentary, I believe, on YouTube called 10 Years of the Carnage Cup, where they talk about the history of IWA Deep South and the Carnage Cup. And we actually got a free copy of the DVD of this documentary whenever we bought our ticket, which I'll get to here in a little bit. But yeah, if you want to check that out, you can check it out on YouTube there. As far as their other events, I think, if I understand right, they're getting moved to the XPW platform stream, xpw.com. So, yeah, if you want to check out the replay of the Corners Cup 13, or I guess what's coming down the line of the previous ones, you could check it out there. But yeah, for those that know, I love death matches. I've been to quite a few over the years. I'm proud to say that I've been to quite a few of the Nick Gage Invitationals, quite a few of the ICW NHB shows, Trainwreck, Southern Sickness Cup, been to two of those. So putting a check mark on the Carnage Cup, going to that tournament was a pretty cool endeavor. McKenzie, Tennessee, for those that don't know, is about 2.5 hours from here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Um, yeah, it's a bit of a haul, but not near as bad as some of these Chicago trips. But nonetheless, just kind of starting out, we left on Saturday morning, went down there, stopped at one of my favorite places to eat cookout in Martin, Tennessee, then went to the local Walmart because this event was bring your own chair. And of course, when I left, I forgot to take a chair. So I stopped in the Walmart to pick up a cheap folding chair to have during the event, and I thought it'd be something pretty cool to get signed. And great endeavor there happened. Quite funny. I was walking down the aisle and I seen a lady and their child in this aisle, and it caught my attention because the child started yelling "Daddy" at me, and the mama started walking towards me with the child and said hi. And I will say that I had no idea who any of these people are, and the fact that ended up being probably the quickest Walmart trip I've ever made in my life, and probably will not be going back to the Martin, Tennessee Walmart because of that. So I don't know what their angle was there, but I definitely was, yeah, having nothing to do with those people. But anyways, got a chair, got a marker, got in the car. Martin, Tennessee from McKenzie, I think it was about 40 minutes. So we get there to the town, start driving through to the address here to our good friend Fester Hoghead's farm, which is roughly about 5 miles off of the highway. And when I say it's off the highway, I mean it is off of the highway, like nowhere near civilization of sorts. Did see some quite terrifying things on the way there. It looked like we did see a house that looked like it was from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and probably one of the most creepiest things I've ever seen. an old dilapidated building that said Back to Basics Church on the front. So, yeah, definitely gave it spooky season vibes to say the least. So we keep going about, like I said, it's about 5 miles. Of course, I got lost a couple of times trying to find this place because once you actually find it, it's just a gravel road with a mailbox. And on this mailbox, there's a tiny piece of paper on a sign that says Carnage Cup. And when you get there, you pull up to this driveway and you see a horse fence gate, not lid, a horse fence gate. And you get out of your car to take the chain off of the horse gate, open it up, drive your car through, get back out, and close the gate, and drive another quarter mile down a dirt road, and you finally get to the parking for the event. And then once you park your vehicle, you start walking down the hill to the ticket table. So this is, like I said, when I say it's very backwoods, it is extremely backwoods for this place. So you walk up to the table. Now this event is a 2-day event. Saturday is the actual Carnage Cup, and then Sunday is just kind of like a uh, I forgot what they call it, Kings of Carnage. Basically, it is just I think the main event was supposed to be last year's Carnage Cup winner versus this year's Carnage Cup winner to defend their title. But we only stayed Saturday because, let's be honest, I'm not trying to stay outside in the heat all day for 2 days because of for deathmatch wrestling. I'm not that dedicated for this. But anyways, we go. Tickets $50 a day or 75 for a 2-day pass. Passes and tickets are, a pretty bold statement for what they give you because you do get basically a little carnival ticket stub, and that's your ticket. But you did get the free DVD that I mentioned earlier, which was quite a surprise because I had no idea that I was going to get a DVD, nor do I own a DVD player in 2023. But it's the thought that counts, and it helps offset that $50 ticket price. So once you walk past that table, you walk down to the bottom of the hill, and this is probably the first thing that really caught my attention was while this was at the bottom of the hill, the fans kind of set towards the top of the hill to watch, and they were not near ringside for these fights. Uh, the only ones that were really down near the ring besides the crew was myself and my buddy Jan. And it's kind of weird to me because every other deathmatch show, front row tickets sell out completely quick. And then if it's general admission, everybody rushes in to get the front row. But for this show, nobody really wanted to be front row besides us, so that seemed kind of strange to me. I don't know. They drew probably that Saturday. They probably drew roughly around about 30 people, and of that 30 people, like 28 of them stayed on top of the hill to watch. No real dressing room wrestlers stayed on top of the hill on the other side and watched the show and walked down the hill as entrances. For the ring itself, is kind of interesting. They used a six-sided ring. Started out no canvas, part rope, or not part rope. Some of it was barbed wire, some of it was razor wire, and I think the other side was other wire that had firecrackers tied to it. No canvas, and it's kind of funny because after the first two matches, there was about a 30-minute intermission so that they can get the ropes up and the padding down for the ring because that was when the bigger names were starting. And it's pretty much like, yeah, we're the big timers. We're not wanting to wrestle in exposed canvas board and razor wire because razor wire is more. I mean, barbed wire is dangerous, but razor wire is completely a whole nother level of dangerous. And I definitely do not ever recommend using razor wire in anyone's matches because you are just destined to get hurt more than normal, I should say. First two matches in, they had their spots, big firecracker spots, way too many firecracker spots. One of my biggest takeaways from this is if they would have cut down their firecracker budget, they probably could have bought a bigger sign to put out front so people would know where it's going. But first two matches, like I said, very heavy on the firecrackers, the fireworks. They did the fire through the razor wire there, and yeah, if this sounds nuts listening to it, you can check out Big Lee's at Big Lee's World on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and I've definitely posted some clips there. So if you're curious to put a picture to what I'm talking about on this episode, you can definitely check it out there. And it sounds just as crazy. It looks just as crazy as the way I'm describing it. So like I said, those first two matches with that, then they go and like I said, they take two matches, and then there's a 30-minute intermission, which I was not a big fan of. They should have probably, if that was the case, they should have just done the no rope and all that stuff towards the end instead of doing it first, because that 30-minute intermission really seemed to put everything behind there for the rest of the night. And that show, it should have been about 3 hours, ended up going about 5. Once it got around to them putting the ropes up, apparently the bottom rope somehow or another broke, and they used 2 ropes the rest of the show, which was kind of entertaining to say the least. I definitely think it made it easier for them to slide weapons in and out that way. So that definitely helped them. But one thing I didn't also notice is it didn't really seem like there was much ring upkeep as far as in between the matches versus like trying to get the weapons in and out between there. I mean, you could definitely tell some of those later matches where the top rope had gotten loose and was not very stable for some of the guys to use. But anyways, once they get that out there, they get match 3 and 4 and all that going. They were triple threat matches to start out round 1 of the tournament. Some of the big names that they had in it this year was like the Hardcore Hillbilly, XPW Superstar, Deathmatch Legend, Necro Butcher, who some of y'all may know from the movie The Wrestler, or that you've seen through JCW or CZW or XPW, or at our good friends over at AFU Hardcore when he came through there. He was there, and the main reason that I went, Lucha Libre, Lucha Extrema, Deathmatch Legend, Sick Boy was there, and that was my main selling point, because we'll talk about this in a later episode, but I got to meet, like I said, as of recording this, probably about a week and a half now ago, I got to meet Pagano, and then turn around and get to meet Sick Boy. It's a big month for me meeting some of these great deathmatch legends. But anyways, not to ramble too much about all this here. First round, triple threats. Whoever got pinned got eliminated. The other 2 guys went on to the next round. Round 2, they had the one-on-one matches. Probably the match of the night happened then. I got to see deathmatch legend Necro Butcher fight Sick Boy in the semi finals. So that was a big highlight to me. Main event, all the winners from the semi main went to that, and they did this big old extreme elimination death match, which was pretty cool. Sadly, to see Necro Butcher did not win. I was really expecting him to. He got eliminated. I guess it'd be second, and it led to a guy named Little Sicko, and I want to make sure I say this right. The Suicidal Beast Bryant Woods, I believe is his name. And they went all around the yard fighting. And when I say yard, like I said, if you look at this, it is in a backyard of a farm. And it ends up with a spot with them going off of a U-Haul truck through glass, light tubes, chairs, wood. Definitely recommend checking out the socials at Big Lee's World to see that clip there, because when I say there was carnage at the Carnage Cup, that is 110% what I'm looking at here, because it was a carnage massacre, to say the least. I was trying to think of the best name for it. But overall, like I said, the show went about 5 hours. It's about 2 hours too long. I definitely think if they could have kept it under 3, that would have been better. And that kind of leads to just some of my critiques and thoughts from the show. One, I get what they're trying to do with the more extreme of the death matches versus what more the mainstream like GCW and ICW are doing. But I think at the same time, uh, there is a pretty strong reputation that comes with this company. First off, I know, I believe the owner's name is Kevin Brennan. I don't personally know much about the guy. I know apparently there are some tweets and some social media posts that was made that apparently does not put him in a very likable spot. Like I said, I don't know too much about it. I guess he can't be overly that bad of a dude because people still work for him. So, including guys like Larry Legend, who, is both homosexual and African American. So, them saying that Kevin is racist and homophobic and still hiring somebody like Larry, you know, like I said, I don't know much about the guy. I didn't talk to him overly much there. I can't really say how he is personally, but if it was just a facade to help get a better image for the company, I don't know. It was cool to see Larry. I hadn't got to see Larry since ICW Chicago out at Summit Park, so that was cool to see him. Um, like I said, I think one of the biggest drawbacks from it is, like I said, the negative reputation that goes with that IWA Deep South, and I get they got their fan base, and like I said, I try to put the politics and all that aside to it, and all that, and just focus on the workers there. And like I said, it was cool to get to finally see Thick Boy in person, and get to see the legend Necro Butcher, and finally get to meet good buddy Drew, oh, hardcore hillbilly. So, like I said, that's one of the big things. Is like they've got an uphill battle with their reputation. So hopefully, they can continue to work and improve that to get a bigger fan base there. Second thing is probably ticket price. Like I said, they drew probably around about 30 people. It looked like $50 even for a 1 day pass. 75 for two. Like, no, that's if you're not a diehard deathmatch fan or somebody you really want to see there, people aren't going to pay that, especially if they could sit at home and watch the whole weekend for $24.99 versus 75 for 2 days. That's a little bit ridiculous. Plus the fact that you got to bring your own chair and all that. On a side note, their concessions, they had a smoothie truck there, and I don't know why, but that popped me. I thought that was probably one of the funniest things that I seen all weekend. All right, quite a few of the deathmatch shows I've been to. I don't think of the smoothie fan base and the deathmatch fan base in the South, being one and the same. But hey, I can't knock the hustle. Also, side note for people that keep talking about this being in the deep, deep South, this is in the mid South. It's just off the highway. It's not the actual deep South. So when I hear people keep talking about like they were in the deep, deep, deep South, it's like no, they weren't. They were in the mid South. It just happened to be 5 miles off of a highway. It was kind of funny to hear people from out of, from the city that traveled in for this being like how they'd never seen a cotton field before. And I'm like, huh. I guess that's one of those things you never thought about as someone that grew up in the country. Like, yeah, we have cotton fields and cornfields and rice fields and all that. But needless to say, I thought that was kind of funny. Going back to the critiques though, like I said, the prices, better advertisement as far as where it's actually at. Probably would have done something also, or recommend working something in the local area as far as like with some of the local companies. I mean, West Tennessee is already known to everybody to run a show on a Saturday, and then the fact of like your next hardcore wrestling company, the next town or town over, uh, running a hardcore show called Swag Wrestling, which we'll talk about on a later episode as well from our summer travels. It just seems kind of funny that like they couldn't work with them to do something, or the fact that literally they're 2 hours from Memphis and Memphis is running AEW. So I probably would have, looked at trying to do something either much later of the night, like a crazy after hours deathmatch tournament, or maybe just put it all on Sunday so that you could get that AEW weekend travel that we're going there and then want to come back. So But honestly, like I think those are probably the biggest critiques that I had for it. Uh, just little small things that hopefully, I actually, all jokes and everything aside, I do really hope to see that it go back to McKenzie next year. I know I talked to the guy who owns the property, Fester, and he really seemed to be happy with it. So, you know, hopefully they can. I like the fact that, there's a deathmatch tournament happening a little over 2 hours away. Uh, Now, hopefully, it'll be a little bit easier to find now that we know where it is. But and to give them a year to advertise in that area and kind of get people more aware of the situation. So, like I said, overall, I recommend it going. I know we shared a couple videos on the old Twitter or the X, however you want to call it, and they got quite a few views, a lot of laughs and stuff like that. Like I said, I kind of knew what I was getting into going as far as like what I would be seeing there. And even though some of it does look silly and crazy to think that people would agree to do some kind of work a match in the style that you see there. And like I said, if you go see these clips or you go back to streamxpw.com and buy the pay-per-view replay, you're going to be like, these people are nuts. But to see this and to think that people would agree to do something like that, you're just like, these people are nuts. But you still got to respect that they're willing to put their body through razor wire for 30 people in the backyard of a farm in, West Tennessee. So, yeah, like I said, I respect it. Like I said, some of it was funny. Definitely some things I would have changed. But overall, like I said, I'm glad to see something here in the West Tennessee area. And like I said, on a future episode, we're going to talk about West Tennessee wrestling and some of these travels and my thoughts on it and some of the summer experiences. But overall, like I said, it's funny. I think because of the IWA Deep South reputation, I think it's always going to get a nasty look and things like that. But I think if you go open minded and put all the politics and stuff like that aside, and you just want to go have a good fun time on a farm in West Tennessee, I recommend it. Like I said, if they come back there and I've got nothing else going on next year, I will go ahead and be back there as well. So, and of course, if you see me there next year, come say hi. If you see me at any event, come up and say hi. But just wanted to wrap this up, kind of give you my thoughts and reviews there. For those wondering, the Suicide Monster or Suicide something, Brian Woods, he's the one that won the Carter's Cup 13 and got their new Confederate flag IWA Deep South belt. There's a picture of it over on the socials as well. So if you're curious to see it, go ahead and check it out. It's kind of funny to see the people, the out of area people who learned halfway through the show that there was a rebel flag in their logo and their response. It was kind of funny. But nonetheless, like I said, if you want to check out some of the clips in the socials at Big Lee's World on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or if you want to check out the whole replay, you can check it out at streamxpw.com. I believe the pay per view replay is like $24.99 for both shows, so it's not too bad, and it's definitely a lot cheaper than if you bought a ticket to the show. So, as always, I want to thank y'all for listening. I know, probably some of y'all are surprised that there was a next episode this quick after the last one, but I just wanted to, like I said, I want to keep this going here and kind of get caught up on a lot of things here. So I appreciate the love and support. I appreciate everyone that went and picked up some merch over at bigleesworld.com. Make sure to like, subscribe the podcast, share the episode, give us a 5-star rating. And like I said, if you ever have any questions, feel free to send me a message on the socials. You can shoot me an email at bigleesworld@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for the love and support. And 2 scoops of whoop, whoop, whoop.